there were over 50 people in that apartment that night, and neighbors created Airbnb accounts that didn't have Airbnb accounts just to locate the property on the Airbnb map and DM us and say what is going on at your place.
Yeah. Welcome to Airpreneur. My name's Adam. This is Vince. We operate a 31 unit Airbnb portfolio right now, and we really just want to share some experiences on what we've learned, what went well, what went wrong, and honestly just give you guys actionable advice so you guys at home can actually start building a passive Airbnb business. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So let's kind of get into it. I have some questions for you. So what do you think is the most unexpected challenge you face with an Airbnb guest?
My favorite story is the bat lady. I don't know if you remember this one.
I do.
So we have a single family home on Airbnb, and I remember getting a message from one of our guests saying I was awoken in the middle of the night to a bat flying around the property. And of course she panicked, requested a refund, as I think anybody would, right? And now one thing I think you have to be skeptical of on Airbnb are false claims of dirtiness, and things like that.
Yeah.
Because people could request a refund even if they have very little proof of it, right? So, so she says I was awoken to a bat flying around my room, and then we questioned her on it, and I think she provided no responses, right? She just left the property. She's like, I don't care. I left. I don't have any photos. Or no, she did send us photos, didn't she, of hair? So she sent us photos of, or no, I'm sorry. She didn't send us any photos. She said, I left the property. I don't have any proof. So we go to check out the property only to find that she said that there was bat fur in the room.
Yeah, no, she had sent us a picture of bat fur. She said the problem was there was bat fur. She was going to have to go get rabies shots for her dog and for herself.
Oh, that's right.
And she wanted a full refund. And I was like, well, I need some proof of this because we never had bats before in the property. So she sends me a picture of what's supposed to be bat fur. By the way, she sends me a picture of a feather. There's no such, bats don't have fur.
It was
they don't have fur.
2-inch long fur. First off,
it's not fur. It was feather. It was a feather.
Well, I'm saying in her, she claimed it was fur. So the picture she sent us were pieces of fuzz that were 2 inches long. I've never seen a bat that had hair longer than a sheepdog. So it was really long pieces of fuzz. We went to the property and it was totally fake,
there was nothing going on. It was like a feather from a costume cap.
Yeah.
She got creative. I'll give her that. But I was like, there's no such thing as fur. Denied the claim. Denied her. Didn't have to give any refunds because it was completely made up.
It was I wish I could show. I mean, this does not do it justice. If I could show you the photo of what the fur looked like, it's hysterical. Maybe we should try to get the photo up here or something. But yeah, that's probably my most challenging Airbnb guest experience, right? So I'll spin the same question back to you. What was the most unexpected Airbnb guest experience?
Before I actually started working with you, right? And one of the first property I had night 4 people stay at the property. Night 1, I get a message that the couch is broken. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, sorry to hear that. Send me a picture. Can't really do anything about it. I'm like, all right, no worries. And I had insurance on it because I got it from Big Lots, and they had a policy where I get a brand new one. So I didn't really care. I was gonna get a brand new one anyway. But then that same night, later that same night, I get a message that now the bed frame's broken. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Why is all this shit breaking all of a sudden? Because there was no problems prior. I've been running this for months with no issues. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to come in. I'm going to see what's going on, right? And there's 4 of them there. So I go inside. I walk in. They're like, no problem. Come anytime because I have to replace this bed frame so that they can solve it. So now it's in the evening. I go to replace the bed frame. I walk in into the living room, and I see the couch that's broken, right? By the way, they're still sitting on the broken couch. And I look over. There's 3 ladies. I don't know how to say this. They're fat. They were fat. They were huge. I'm talking whales. I'm like, no wonder this damn couch broke. This couch is designed for two
this
normal size
couch.
It's an inexpensive couch designed for 2 normal human beings. And these ladies are super large. And I'm like, oh man, this is why this couch broke. Yeah. And I'm like, I can see how the bed frame broke now because the bed frame, in full transparency, was already slightly broken. It was slightly broken, but because they were so heavy, they broke it even more.
You're an absolute
And
snake oil salesman.
I had like I actually requested $75 back for fixing the couch, and they had like thrown this massive fit and freaked out on me, and I was like, whatever, I don't even need this. So then I just went to Big Lots and got like a furniture thing. But I remember telling my family that because this is like the first property I got, and I remember them dying laughing about it because like you walk in and I was just like, no wonder this couch is being broken.
Hey, no discrimination on who books the property, but yeah, I mean,
Okay, let's go to the next thing here. What do you feel like has been maybe the funniest or craziest hosting experience? Something that was funny or crazy. I have one on top of my head if you don't have one. But different from challenging because like the bat was kind of crazy, but like we've had a lot of guests, right? So is there anything else that comes to mind that was kind of like, what is going on here?
Yeah. So was the question funniest?
Funniest or craziest in your opinion?
Okay. The craziest has to be the 1-bedroom in Pittsburgh. So the very first weekend we ever launched an Airbnb arbitrage property, right? So for those who are, new to the concept, like we don't own the property. We didn't buy the property. We rent units, furnish them, and then list them on Airbnb. And this allows you to just create a really scalable portfolio because I don't have to buy anything, right? So the very first Airbnb arbitrage property we ever launched, the very first weekend we launched the property, it was a small, very nice luxury 1-bedroom property in the city of Pittsburgh. And we just went live. We were totally new to Airbnb. We didn't really, we thought we had everything down pat from like a guest screening perspective. And this girl books for one night on a Friday. The very first Friday we ever went live. Now, you got to understand, this 1-bedroom apartment is like 500 to 600 square foot. Not very large. There were over 50 people in that apartment that night. And the way we were alerted, right? I remember I woke up in the middle of the night to my phone just going ballistic. There were neighbors. So of course, group of kids go in this place, 50 kids in a small 1-bedroom apartment. And they were going so bonkers with how reckless this party was. Neighbors created Airbnb accounts that didn't have Airbnb accounts just to locate the property on the Airbnb map and DM us and say what is going on at your place.
Yeah.
There was
bad.
There was neighbors footage of kids throwing bottles outside. And
so you remember what you did to me that night? Because
no.
you didn't rectify that situation, right? Yes or no? Did you rectify that situation?
I-
Were you the one dealing with that situation? Yes or no?
Listen.
Yes or no?
I strategically advised and then went back to sleep.
Yeah, he went to sleep. So you're asleep. I'm here. By the way, this is our first 4 months of actually launching units. This is the first big thing that happened.
Dude, it was the first
By the
weekend
way,
of an
you went
arbitrage
to.
property.
I think you were either already asleep or you found out. I don't know. I found out something. But anyway, I had to deal with this. So I was up to 2 a.m, and we're 4 or 5 hours away from the actual property, and the police, I had to call the police 4 times. So I'm watching on the Ring camera, all these people, they're twerking in front of the Ring camera, they're going in and out, they're smoking weed, they're doing all sorts of shit. I can only see outside of the property, but thank God there's no neighbors. There's no neighbors because these are the only 2 units in the building and we have them both. But this is the first week that we just got it with it. And I was so worried about how damaged the property was going to be because it was so nice. I kept calling the police department, you have to go back, you have to go back. Everybody's hitting me up. I'm getting messages, like you said, people create Airbnb accounts just to request to book to message me.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they found it. They probably did that. I'm not even sure how they found it, but people were texting me shit somehow, sending me, I don't know how they got my number, but sending me videos of the street and how many people there were, telling me this is unacceptable, telling me they're going to go to the local council and they're going to get me shut down. And I remember being like, damn, is this what it is to be an entrepreneur? You got to deal with all this shit when nobody's to go to. Because we didn't have a team. I didn't have a team. Neither of us did. We didn't have a team this time. We didn't have any virtual assistants.
No
we
operations.
We didn't have really people on the ground. It was kind of just us bootstrapping it. So we didn't have any of this stuff. And I was like, man, I have to deal with this shit. It was so stressful. I remember I was like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the good news. It has a happy ending. Is that the next day we look and there was only $150 in damage to a carpet. They ruined one carpet. Everything else was relatively okay. Eventually, we got everybody out. The landlord was like, "Oh, party, no big deal."
Dude, you know what's funny? So I was the most afraid to call the landlord the next day because you got to keep in mind, we had to build trust with this guy. We had to pitch him.
I was worried.
So
I remember worried.
We
about
were
it.
negotiating with him for a week before we even took the properties, and then finally lets us take the property. The first week this happened. So I called him the next day, and I was very nervous that he was going to say, I can't believe you guys just, like, I trusted you, whatever, this and that.
Yeah, he could pull us out. It's only 1 week.
And I would have been mad too. Like, I remember explaining to him, look, total fluke thing. We genuinely figured out like what we did wrong and why we let somebody slip through the cracks and like bad guest screening and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I get it. You know,
yeah,
no
he
big deal.
didn't care at all. Look,
holy shit.
So by the way, this all happened because I missed one button you have to press in Airbnb settings that really screens these people harder. And I missed that one button, and I didn't double check this person when they booked, and that's why we had this party.
One other really important point about this, because I know like people that are listening to this, especially like, all of these stories so far, they're like, oh my God, I never want to host on Airbnb. We were completely new. We had no idea what we were doing at the time. I swear to God, thousands of bookings later, this is now 2 years later after that happened, right? We've hosted thousands upon thousands of people, like 7 figures worth of reservations. Knock on wood, we have never had a party again, ever.
Never had a party after.
Insane.
I think that kind of scared us too, to make sure that we like never missed that setting again. We did everything, but this story is a happy ending because they only did $150 worth of damage. But I was pissed at this. I was like, I'm gonna file as many claims as I can. So I filed over $1,000 worth of claims with Airbnb for smoke removal and replacing the carpet, and I like basically we made $1,000 off of that. So we made $1,000 that Airbnb paid us, even though there was only $150 in actual damage, because we knew how to actually leverage the Airbnb claim process, which was this like own thing in itself. So it ended up being a happy ending. But yeah, that one was pretty crazy.
Just a note here to clarify on that: the things that we did file insurance claims for, like Airbnb claims for, were actual damages associated with what had happened. So it's not like an insurance fraud thing. Like we actually
it actually happened, but you can still upcharge. Like if the cleaning cost, if the smoke removal costed $200, you could still say it costed $400.
Well, you could. Let's put it this way: your cleaner, even though it's only like $150 of damage on your carpet, your cleaner might charge you, quote unquote, $500 to do the ozone treatment, right? Type thing. So our cleaners, wink, wink, charged us $500.
Yeah, and the Airbnb doesn't. It's not the guest that ended up paying that, because the Airbnb sends that claim to the guest. The claim says, "Screw you!" Like they threw a party. They weren't going to pay $1,000 anyway.
Oh yeah.
So
they didn't even reply.
So they sent it. Airbnb sent it to them. They said, "Screw you!" Airbnb banned their account, and they just paid us out. So it really came out of Airbnb. It didn't come out of the pockets of the people throwing the party. So
yeah.
That is what it is.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So if you are someone looking to create your own job-quitting Airbnb business and you want to scale it to 6 figures and beyond, then you're going to want to join our Facebook group. It's totally free, and all you have to do is tap the link below to join it at no cost. So we go live in there twice per week and to coach you on all of the latest insights, tools, and resources that we use to create our own business. So that way you could start earning your first few $1,000s a month on Airbnb.